Hi, everyone. This is OGS Executive Director Noel Poirier. By following us on social media and being an OGS member, I know that you support the OGS's efforts to preserve, make accessible, and share genealogical resources, both at the Samuel D. Isley Library and online. I appreciate your support in providing opportunities for genealogical education and enrichment, such as the OGS Conference, the Fall Retreat, online webinars, our new podcast, and more. Your financial support ensures that the OGS can continue promoting genealogy and family history today and in the future. I know I can count on your support as we move forward with the 2024 Building Beyond Annual Appeal and our efforts to continue to grow the OGS's investment funds. If you have already donated to this year's Building Beyond campaign, thank you. If not, please consider donating today. Donations can be securely made online at ogs.org/donate. Thank you for all you do to support your Ohio Genealogical Society. Welcome to Ohio Roots, the official podcast of the Ohio Genealogical Society. Join us as we embark on a captivating journey through Ohio's rich genealogy, history, and abundant resources. Hosted by me, OGS Executive Director Noel Poirier, this podcast brings you insightful conversations with a diverse array of guests, from OGS members, chapter leaders, and staff to renowned genealogists, historians, and influential figures within the genealogical community. Each episode delves into fascinating topics and captivating stories. So grab your headphones, hit that play button, and join us on this enthralling journey of Ohio's roots. My guest on this episode of Ohio Roots is OGS Conference Coordinator Marleen Applegate. If you've attended an OGS conference or fall retreat over the last several years, you've undoubtedly met Marleen. I've asked Marleen to speak with us today about the upcoming 2024 OGS Fall Retreat, maybe a little about the 2025 OGS Conference, and who knows whatever else might come up. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. Well, I'd like to welcome to the Ohio Roots podcast today, OGS Conference Coordinator Marleen Applegate. Marleen, thank you so much for joining me today.
My honor.
I'm really pleased to have you. It's fun to talk to you about what's coming up. I asked you on the podcast this time so we can talk a little bit about the upcoming 2024 OGS Fall Retreat that is planned for a little later. And I want to make sure we got our listeners a chance to hear what it's all about so they can think about that as they register. So if you could tell me a little bit about what's planned for that this year.
Oh, we got a lot of exciting things planned. We've got 4 phenomenal speakers. We have 2 board members. We have Cheryl Brown Abernathy as one of our speakers and Deborah Kicko. And then we also have Kelly Bergheimer, who everybody seems to enjoy quite a bit, no matter where she goes. And then I'm also excited. We have Amber Oldenburg out of Indiana coming. So it's going to be exciting with the speakers.
Wow.
Lots of great programs.
Yeah. What in general are kind of the subjects that are going to be covered by the speakers?
We're doing a case study on trying to find a female's parents.
Oh, okay.
We've got one on Midwest archives, researching in various archives throughout the Midwest, not just Ohio.
Okay.
We've got a program on organizing your genealogy research. That always seems to be a question of everybody's of how do I organize my stuff once I have it?
Sure.
And then we've got one on brick walls and how to maybe break down those brick walls without beating your head senseless. Naturalization records, westward migration trails. So if your ancestors maybe didn't stay in Ohio, or how did they get to Ohio? That's always a good program. Organizing and collaborating with cousins. So not just on researching your ancestors, but also networking and working with family members you may have just found, or ways to get family members involved.
Okay.
Stuff, how to do research if you didn't own land.
Wow.
And then, of course, Cheryl's favorite, working on and doing a lineage application.
Wow. Well, that'll be very useful, I know, for everybody.
Exactly. It's always a fun one. And then doing some DNA matching, Native American research. And then we also have one on using Family Search Wiki and Catalog. So lots of diverse topics, lots of great topics for anybody. And the programs at the fall retreat are a little different than the conference ones.
Right.
Because these are 90-minute sessions as opposed to a 50 minute with some question and answer time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're getting almost 70 minutes worth of content with 10 to 15 minutes worth of question and answer time.
I think one of the things that I really like about the fall retreat is it's a bit on a more relaxed and smaller scale than the OGS conference. So it feels like you get a little more kind of one-on-one interaction with the speakers.
Absolutely. We have it capped at the first 50 attendees that come. And then it's really fun as an organizer of it to sit back and watch, because you see all these people coming in and registering on Friday, and some may know some of them, but, people may come in a couple of, 2 or 3 groups, small group. And by the time everybody leaves, because it is so small and it is so personal, it's like everybody knows everybody. And then they're all like, see you next year, or see you at conference, or, we'll catch up. So it's like you come in as you don't know anybody, and then you leave as you've been friends for 20 years.
Well, and it's not, and I know from my own experience with attending OGS fall retreats, there's the classroom work, which is obviously what everybody's there for. But there are opportunities for socialization, which I think is one of the reasons a lot of people join organizations in the first place. And I know, like at the fall retreat, you have opportunities for that, correct?
Absolutely. This year, the registration rate includes 3 meals. So it includes your Friday night dinner, your Saturday luncheon, and your Saturday night dinner, which is a little different than what we've done in the past. Hence the higher price. But there again, you're also getting 3 meals. But there's also a lot of opportunity in the evenings. You'll see people, you'll walk through the venue and they're sitting in the lobby and they're playing cards, or they're sitting around just socializing and digesting what they learned for the day, or sharing stuff with each other. So yeah, it's a huge socialization time, which is really nice too.
Yeah, I think for many of our members, the opportunity to do that is something they've missed out, particularly in the post-COVID years. You mentioned the venue. Where is this year's OGS Fall Retreat being held?
This year, it's going to be at the DoubleTree by Hilton in Dublin, Ohio. It's basically on the 270, the northwest corner of the 270 interchange around Columbus. So you don't even have to go into downtown Columbus. So, and it's a really nice venue. It's a small venue. It's not the ones that we've had in the past at the state parks, but it's very small, just like the state parks as well. So it's going to have that same feel. It's just not going to be that rustic feel that we've had in the past.
I think the benefit maybe also is I went to one several years ago. I believe it's Salt Fork State Park, and there's really nowhere to go other than the lodge. So at least with this location, if folks want to go out in the evening later, there's opportunity for that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, being in Dublin, you're not too far from downtown Dublin, and the nice thing is, because some people will come in early on, like, say, Thursday night or Friday morning. They're not far from, like, the Ohio Historical Society to go do some research, the Columbus Metropolitan Library. I mean, OGS is just about an hour up the road. They could go do some research in the morning at OGS if they wanted to, if they're not from Ohio. Because we do get a lot of people in from out of state, which is really too.
Yeah, and it's nice. Dublin's a fairly centralized location in the state. So kind of regardless of where you're living, all roads kind of lead to Columbus. And so it's fairly easy to get to, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah, it's just a couple hours from Toledo, Cincinnati, Ashtabula. So it's very centrally located. So it's going to make it really easy for people. So I would not wait to get registered, because it is cap 50. So in the first 50, when they get registered, it's closed out.
For information on registering for the annual OGS Fall Retreat being held September 13th and 14th, 2024 at the DoubleTree by Hilton in Dublin, Ohio, please visit the OGS website at www.ogs.org. Registration may be done online at the website, or you may download a brochure and send in your registration monies via check. We're looking forward to seeing all of you in Dublin, Ohio this fall. If you enjoy listening to the Ohio Roots podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could go to whatever platform it is that you listen and give us a good review. Reviews help us get more listeners and reach more people with Ohio roots and what we're trying to do with the Ohio Genealogical Society. So please leave us a nice review, and thanks for listening. Talk to me a little bit about the registration. How much are we talking for folks if they're coming and getting the whole package?
I apologize. I do not have all of that exactly right here in front of me. I'm thinking it's 200 and I think 220 for OGS members and 260, I believe, for non-members.
Okay. So
And
again,
then
you're seeing that benefit of being an OGS member is it can save you considerably on these kind of things.
Exactly. Our hotel rate is $139 a night plus tax. So that's not bad either for a venue in the Columbus area.
Sure. And you already mentioned that, three probably pretty significant meals, as I remember them to be, are included with your registration. So that's great.
And the meals are really nice too, because, we kind of use them as a question and answer period. So, if somebody would have a question of, say, I heard that my great-great-grandmother was a Cherokee princess. How do I go find that?
Right.
Well, our speaker is sitting there at the meal as well. And that speaker could answer that question or give you some pointers. And at the same time, if nobody has any questions or they're not picking the speaker's brains or the other individuals at the table that maybe has an expertise, say you're sitting next to somebody that's from, Defiance County, Ohio, and you have ancestors in Defiance, you can sit there and talk with them about, okay, well, where do I go to find this or where do I go to find that? So again, it's another one of those social interaction times to be able to network with people.
Yeah, and again, for me, and I can't kind of stress this enough, what I like about fall retreats is the scale is just a little more modest. And so, it really does give you the opportunity for that one-on-one interaction that sometimes gets lost at conference because there's just so many people and so much activity going on. And fall retreat is just a much more casual and relaxed atmosphere, I think.
It is. And I do know that some people have been maybe timid about coming to the big conference in the spring.
Sure.
So I tell them, come to the fall retreat. You get a little feeling of what the conference is like in the spring, but you don't have that overwhelming, what have I got myself into feeling, because it is so small and personal.
And since we're talking a little bit about conference, and if you don't mind, I don't want to put you on the spot because I know we're all still planning it, but would you be willing to talk for a few minutes just about what's planned for the 2025 OGS conference?
I do know there's a lot of exciting things. They are currently working on getting contracts out to the speakers that have been chosen. So I can't really divulge a lot of information.
Of course not.
I do know that they have a phenomenal keynote speaker. They've got Judy Russell, the legal genealogist. And I think they've got a few things up their sleeves that they're not really sharing with me, keeping it pretty close to the cuff, which is their choice as co-chairs.
Right.
It will be back at Kalahari this year.
Right.
And we have done some strategic planning. I know the last couple of times that we've been at Kalahari, we've dealt with the dance teams and the pep squads and all that stuff.
Right.
So I have behind the scenes have been working with Kalahari extensively to try to narrow down that opportunity of that interaction. So hopefully we won't have so much trouble with them. On the weekend, it's not so bad Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday and Saturday can get kind of...
Sure, as it rolls into the weekend, it can get pretty hectic there. Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question I ask all my guests. Sometimes I ask it at the beginning. Tonight I didn't, obviously. Talk to me about your experience. How did you get involved in doing genealogy in the first place?
It's kind of a strange story.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah. I was homesick. Every year I tend to get bronchitis and some of that stuff, and the doctor will yank me out of work and school and kind of isolate me for, personal health issues. And I was sitting home bored, and my mom had started dabbling and doing some work. And I was thinking about maybe going back to college and, pursuing my BSBA. And I've always heard the family story. Everybody has this family story that we had an ancestor in every battle that America has ever been involved in. And I'm thinking, cha-ching, there's my scholarship, DAR.
There you go.
And I started researching, and I did find some stuff, but then, after the end of that week, it was like that bug just, it bit hard.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of goes, background story too, is I used to live in Florida, and I would come up once a year, every year, and visit my mother. And while I was here, she would take vacation. She's like, okay, well, we'll go see such and such. And on the way, we'll go past the cemetery where XYZ ancestor lived. Can we stop and have a picnic lunch? Now I'm talking 13, 14, 15-year-old teenager going,
Sure.
Are you kidding me? We have to go to a cemetery and take pictures and have a lunch. Are you kidding me? And so after a few years, like I said, I went back and started doing my own research. And now I'm the one that's dragging her to the cemeteries.
Did you ever find out who that ancestor was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We've
okay.
been there many, 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 many times and done a lot of research. But yeah, it just would kind of depend on where we went in the state, which ancestor we were visiting.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty fun. So the fall retreat, I'm going to go ahead and tell folks what I can tell them about it. If I miss anything, please jump in. The 6th annual OGS Fall Retreat is being held September 13th and 14th, 2024 at the Doubletree by Hilton in Dublin, Ohio. Our host county and sponsor is Franklin County Genealogical and Historical Society. Registration is available on the OGS website at www.ogs.org. You can also download the full fall retreat brochure there that has all the information on it, as well as a registration form if you prefer to register by mail. Registration deadline is August 13th, 2024. So don't wait too long to get registered. As Marleen mentioned, we only allow 50 people at this event, at this program, and you want to make sure you can get in there in time. Well, Marleen, thank you for joining me today on the Ohio Roots podcast to discuss the OGS Fall Retreat and conference and some other information about your own genealogical adventures. I really appreciate you being on.
No problem. My honor again.
All right. Well, thank you again, Marleen, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Noel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Ohio Roots podcast is brought to you by the Ohio Genealogical Society, the premier gateway for discovering your Ohio family history. Hosted by OGS Executive Director Noel Poyer and edited by Luke Poyer. Theme song is Beautiful Ohio, recorded by Bob Stanley and his orchestra in 1944. To learn more about joining the Ohio Genealogical Society, visit www.ogs.org.